Welcome to the Daily BA. We are in Miami with Alex again, and today we're going to be talking about, what do we got?
Behavior analysis and technology and how they're changing therapy.
Yep, here we go. How technology can open up ABA in other areas.
Okay.
That's what we have here.
So we talked about that a little bit earlier about how it can get us access to more data. Mm-hmm. That's one way.
Yeah. So that's been one of my things. Yeah. As I try incorporating technology, I have totally different data streams. Oftentimes, like you're talking about automated. So a good one was I set up an if this then that recipe, right? Mm-hmm. For every time I come into my studio, it takes the time that I got in the studio and the time that I leave.
Did you use Zapier for that?
I have used IFTTT is what I use. But I've used both, I guess. I use a little bit of both.
Yeah.
We'll link those below. They just help connect different apps and whatnot together. But yeah, so I have a timestamp every time I go into the studio and every time I leave. And then I threw up smart plugs because I hated turning on the lights for 30 seconds because I had to hit a bunch of different areas. And I was like, at the end of the year, I'm going to have that. I can do a quick function in Excel. I'm like, I saved this much time because of installing those things. It maybe took me 40 minutes to get all the plugs set up perfectly. Yes. But I don't have to touch those things anymore.
Yes.
I come and go.
And that's that's super cool that you're doing that. Yeah. I never thought of doing that. Like clock in, clock out as soon as I walk through the door. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome how you got the lights to turn off automatically or turn on when you walk in.
Yeah.
Some of our favorite tech is super simple and it gets rid of one behavior.
Yeah. It's one littlest thing. It's one less keystroke.
Yes.
One less click.
You ever bought one of those wireless chargers for your phone?
Mm-hmm.
I have a wireless charger. It literally just saved me the behavior of grabbing the cable and going like this to my phone and putting it down. That's all it's now it's just boom.
Yeah.
But I saved that every single day for the rest of my life. That's one less behavior I have to engage in. And if you do that with 5 or 6 things, now you're talking about some serious amount of behavior that you're saving over time.
Yeah. I'll spend hours sometimes trying to understand my own scheduling and just own self-management strategies. I'm like, why is this not working? And I'll throw hours into that, but it's over 8 or 10 years now. I'm dialed, I feel really dialed. It's not perfect, but
you constantly got to adapt.
Well, yeah, that's it. But that 30 seconds I save every day can now be thrown at something else that's a little bit more meaningful to me.
Exactly.
And then over years, that turns into there's a couple hours a day that I'm really saving. I feel or redistributing maybe is a better word.
Yeah, exactly. You're redistributing. I said the same thing to my wife about going to PetSmart.
Okay.
We used to go to PetSmart and it would take us maybe anywhere between 35 to 50 minutes between driving to PetSmart, grabbing the food, heading back, and then going on about your day. But those are 45 minutes that I could save every month and not have to do that. So I went on Amazon and I just put subscribe to my dog's food and now we get her food, And so the only time we really go to the pet store now is if we want to take our dog on a field trip, let her go around the store and see toys and stuff. So now it becomes an event as opposed now it's actually reinforcing for us because we get to see her really enjoy the place. But just using Amazon, you save yourself 40 minutes a month. If you find ways to do that in 4 or 5 different areas, you're talking about a serious amount of time that you can redistribute
for sure.
To just relaxing or to being more productive.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. There was something else that I just remembered. So we were talking about how it can open up other areas. So we talked about the other night, Headsprout, and they worked on a reading comprehension program. It's scaled up to 3 million kids was the last time that I heard, or students that I heard last, over, 10, 15 years, which is pretty phenomenal, when you think about how many people were impacted by it. But it also, other things I think of, behavioral pharmacology research, we laid some of the assays, as they call them, on understanding how drugs function. That helped open up, I don't know for better or worse, but it helped inform that industry, right? We have rats that are trained to sniff out tuberculosis in mines, right? To detect those sort of things. And so when it comes to this, how does technology open up things? I feel like if you can find what you were talking about, if you can find your problem you want to solve, it helps pave the way in those like industries and sectors of like, hey, these people have some value, right?
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
behavioral scientists.
Yep.
If someone's like, how can technology help pave the way for behavior analysts? I feel like it comes down to that recipe of what problem you're going to solve, and then start working in that area.
Yep.
And those are going to be your kind of, hopefully, are kind of our people paving the path and kind of your change agents that are essentially advocating for, at the end of the day, and disseminating, like, hey, we can do things, we can provide value in these other areas.
Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. It really boils down to finding people who want to take the risk and are willing to say, let's solve this problem. This problem is worth solving.
Yeah.
It's gonna take sacrifice. I'm gonna have to probably give up some of my income. I'm probably gonna have to, I don't know, talk to my wife or my spouse about weekend time, dedicating some of it to this. Yeah. But I want to solve this problem, and I want to make an impact in the world. I'm gonna do whatever it takes.
Yeah, for sure. My big thing is technology gives me data streams I didn't have before. And that's my biggest thing is anytime I try something new with technology related, like the YouTube analytics now on this channel, it's just insane the level of detail that I can get into.
Yeah. What countries and
countries.
What browser?
Yeah. But I can combine those. I can be like, what country with what age group is using what browser? Like you can combine and just smash those together, and it's too much to look at.
Yeah, I agree.
In one way.
Like, is it useful?
Yeah. Certain dashboards have been built to make it super useful, but I guess for me, just it creates novel data streams that I didn't have before, and that is where we can innovate, collaborate with other fields, and I feel like that's the value of technology when it comes to data collection. Yeah, it creates these novel streams.
Yeah, and not just that, but I think another big area where behavior analysts are undoubtedly going to have to get involved in. It's actually an area I intend to become more familiar with over the next couple of years. Okay. Is machine learning. Okay. So people are scared of machine learning and like artificial intelligence or whatever you want to call it. But really, it just does whatever it tells you to, right? It just follows logic and instruction. And I think behavior analysts are going to have to start helping machines learn when behavior is occurring. Yeah. Right? So if we can teach an algorithm, the behavior is occurring, the behavior is not occurring. If we can do that, then we can pretty much access any sort of behavior data that we need. Yeah. Because if it's observable, there's no reason why we can't calculate the behavior with some sort of algorithm. Yeah. So I think that's actually one of the biggest areas that we could have a huge impact on. For sure. And something that I want to get involved in later on. Yeah, that's one of those topics that you mentioned earlier that like I want to go hard in that area and pursue it, and it's not together enough to chat about. Yeah. But I see the value of that. Huge. I see it. Yeah. That in my opinion, that's actually one of the areas that could put behavior analysts semi out of business. Yeah. And by that I mean like, in therapy, you're still always going to have a demand for therapists. Yep. But imagine that there was some sort of software that could tell, like if you just were able to tell it, these are the behaviors I want to reduce, these are the behaviors I want to increase. You had some sort of curriculum, which, we have plenty of curriculums. If you have that and then you had something that can automatically detect, and then you just have a professional that knows how to do the interventions, then, at some point, you could automate a lot of the decision making. With the data. You just say, here's the data, here's how it's looking, this is what you need to do. So. Yeah, it's really exciting. It could, I would add to that. I've always thought about all the data that's being taken that's just not being shared. Yeah. You read a journal article, and you know how many things are being collected outside of there that did not get put into there. And there are like brilliant practitioners doing things that just never get thrown into there. And then the just massive amounts of data that are being taken that might not be any quality for said journals or like wherever it should go. But it's still so valuable, and our field is just not looking at that. So Yeah, we definitely need to start looking at other areas in terms of like what other, I guess, industries are doing.
Yeah.
So what are the tech industries doing?
Yeah. I've seen the medical industry moving towards things like you described, actually.
Really?
Like very small scale, but they're playing around with machine learning and like how do we help inform medical practices?
Yeah, can we remove the human from the equation?
Yeah.
It's just kind of a scary thought because...
It is, but I mean, like IBM's Watson, they did that with cancer research and like looking at identifying, essentially they worked on throwing, my understanding at a high level is like throwing some machine learning to that process, which led to them being able to better identify cancer rates through technology than they could with a single practitioner.
Yeah, like less
because everybody's
false
knowledge.
positives.
Yeah, everybody's knowledge was essentially put into there.
Gotcha.
Into that algorithm, which is just really cool.
It's like collective knowledge.
Yeah.
Instead of like one person, one expert, you get like 20 experts.
Yeah.
And you make less mistakes.
Yeah. I always thought it was interesting. I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago on an airplane where they were talking about, I believe it was a startup podcast, but they were talking about how many miles are driven. It's something like 100 million miles are collectively driven before a car accident. And so when it comes to just car accident statistics, it's crazy. And it's like something we should be working on, right? Is the argument. And then, you have folks like Tesla and them working on this AI to be able to understand and make them driverless cars. But there were things like a bag blowing across the street can give them a huge problem because we can discriminate a bag from a rock, and they are having a hard time teaching them.
The machine has a harder time with it.
So I think there's going to be, it sounds like there's always going to be a need for like solving those problems like you said, and I'm hoping behavior analysts could use technology to start branching into those sort of things. So I could see us like worst case scenario, like bam, things are changing all over the place. Now we have like 150,000 BCBAs, or whatever, that can like pivot off their skills, and it's gonna be nuts, but like jump in and start providing value in these areas outside of our typical streams. Yeah, it's kind of scary where we might end up, like how much change could occur over the next 10, 20, 30 years. But change doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. We become aware of these things as they come. And so I think the thing that behavior analysts need to remember is, don't like pigeonhole yourself. Don't say like, I'm a behavior analyst, I just do ABA therapy and that's it. Like, think about how you can apply it in your everyday life. Think about how you can apply it using tools. Like, how can I use this tool with my staff to get them to engage in these other behaviors that I need them to engage more, right? So OBM, performance management, like we shouldn't just be behavior analysts in the one thing we know. We should be trying to apply it in a whole bunch of areas. I'm going to share a story with you that concept, like I think I've already shared it with you actually, but the time that my wife and I were really upset because our mailman kept losing our packages. And I did the thing that everyone does. I complained and I yelled and I had a tantrum and I emailed the post office and I'm like, I'm sure that got you far.
It got me nowhere. And then finally my wife says, well, you know what? Let's look at this behavior analytically. So she looked at the mailbox. And the mailbox was like all these little boxes because we live in a townhouse community. So they're all like all these mailboxes together. And you can't really tell which box is whose unless you like look on the inside and you look at the bottom. There's like a little piece of paper that says your address. But the stimulus isn't very salient. So she just put it on the doors because it faces out, and then she put another one hanging on the inside. So like here's the roof, and now like it hangs. So when you stick the mail in, you see it very clearly. Ours is like the most salient mailbox address on the entire thing. We haven't lost a package since. And so that's like a really great example of how you can use behavior analysis to just sort of analyze what is causing the behavior problem. My wife really, like, I talk about that story all the time. She really killed it with that. Like, instead of doing what I was doing, just complaining. She figured out the source of the problem and she made a change to cause behavior change.
And I think those, as weird as like, as little of a problem as that sounds, it's probably a very big problem when you're looking across the nation or across countries, right? And so the smallest, like most unusual things is where we could actually provide some value. And some of the, like, to maybe cap it off, like some of the most like brilliant or really some of the most brilliant behavior analysts I ran into solve some really weird problems like that. Like the one of head sprout, like we talked about, teaching reading and reading comprehension through mouse clicks, never hearing or seeing a student.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like
blown away.
Yeah, like
yeah.
You never heard or saw a student,
Yeah.
you taught them to read and comprehend what they're reading, like, you know. I feel like
that's what you can do with behavior analysis and technology.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can really leverage the analysis part of what we do.
Yeah.
And create the environment
Yeah.
that leads to amazing outcomes.
Yeah.
So I love that story. It's a great story.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed. Where can people learn more?
Go to the Behavior Analysis Technology SIG on Facebook, or check out the website and sign up. Try to become a member.
They're linked down below, as well as I'm throwing all of his contact information down there too, his company and all that, so you can check it out. So, yeah, let's jump in the comments section. That's your Daily BA.